It is not enough to conquer, one must also be able to withstand. Napoleon Bonaparte, they tell you to be agreeable, to compromise, to bend until you break. They sell you the lie that peace is always the answer, that defiance is childish, immature, destructive. They want you compliant, they need you docile, because a mind that cannot say no is a mind easily controlled. We are not them. We understand that true peace is forged in the fires of internal conflict. That strength is born from the courage to stand against the tide, even when it threatens to drown you. Your defiance is not a flaw. It is your weapon. It is the seed of your sovereignty. It is the shield that protects your will from the endless assaults of a world that wants to mold you into something you are not. Embrace it, sharpen it, wield it with precision and unwavering resolve. Because the moment you surrender your defiance, you surrender yourself. Defiance isn't blind rebellion. It's not about shouting into the void or smashing the machine for the sake of destruction. It's a calculated act of self-preservation, a refusal to be defined by external forces. It's the inner steel that allows you to discern between genuine wisdom and manipulative control. Consider the pressure you face daily, from advertisements preying on your insecurities to societal expectations dictating your path. From the subtle guilt trips of family to the overt demands of employers, every single one is an attempt to steer you off course, to dilute your essence, to make you a more manageable cog in their machine. Defiance is the antidote. It's the conscious decision to analyze, evaluate, and then choose your own direction regardless of the resistance. It's the quiet power of saying, "No, this is not who I am. This is not what I want. I will not be moved." The ability to defy starts with self-awareness. You must know your values, your principles, your non-negotiables. Without that internal compass, you're just reacting, lashing out blindly, becoming the very thing they accuse you of, destructive. True defiance is rooted in clarity. It's the unwavering commitment to your own truth, even when it's unpopular, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it means standing alone. This is not about ego, it's about integrity. It's about refusing to compromise your soul for the sake of acceptance or convenience. The world will constantly test your boundaries. It will probe for weaknesses, exploit your fears, and try to convince you that conformity is easier. But the path of least resistance leads to mediocrity. It leads to a life lived on someone else's terms. Defiance is a muscle. It needs to be exercised. Start small. Identify the areas in your life where you're compromising your values, the subtle agreements you make to avoid conflict, the small lies you tell to appease others, the dreams you've abandoned because they seem too difficult. Each time you choose to honor your own truth, even in a small way, you strengthen your ability to resist the larger pressures. Learn to say no without explanation. Practice setting boundaries with confidence. Embrace the discomfort of standing your ground. Because every act of defiance, no matter how small, is a declaration of independence. It's a reclaiming of your power, a reassertion of your will, a reaffirmation that you are the master of your own destiny. The world needs strong individuals, not compliant followers. It needs people who are willing to challenge the status quo, to question the narrative, to forge their own path, even when it's paved with opposition. That is the true power of defiance. That is the foundation of a life lived with purpose, integrity, and unwavering self-respect. Defiance isn't merely about saying no, it's about understanding why you're saying no. It's about dissecting the internal and external pressures that push you towards conformity. Examine the roots of your fear of disapproval, trace it back to its origins. Was it a childhood experience, a past failure, a societal expectation? Once you understand the source of your hesitancy, you can begin to dismantle its power. This requires brutal self-assessment. Are you truly afraid of the consequences of defiance, or are you simply addicted to the comfort of acceptance? This is a crucial distinction. One is a rational response to a legitimate threat. The other is a self-imposed prison built on insecurity. True defiance stems from a place of inner strength, not from a place of reactive anger or rebellion. It's not about fighting against everything. It's about standing for something. It's about aligning your actions with your values, even when it's difficult. Consider the narratives you've been told about success, about happiness, about the right way to live. Are these narratives truly your own, or are they echoes of societal conditioning? Question everything. Reject what doesn't resonate with your core values. Forge your own definition of success and pursue it relentlessly, regardless of what others may think. This is not a call to be reckless or irresponsible. It's a call to be intentional, to be deliberate, to be the architect of your own life. The psychology of defiance also involves understanding the tactics that are used to manipulate you into compliance. Recognize the subtle forms of social pressure, the guilt trips, the emotional blackmail, the fear-mongering. These are all tools used to control your behavior. Learn to identify them and learn to disarm them. Develop a thick skin. Don't take criticism personally. Understand that not everyone will agree with you, and that's okay. Their opinions are their own, and they don't have to dictate your actions. Surround yourself with people who support your values, who challenge you to grow, and who respect your independence. Distance yourself from those who constantly try to undermine your confidence or control your choices. The people you surround yourself with will have a profound impact on your ability to maintain your defiance in the face of adversity. Choose your allies wisely. Remember that defiance is not a solitary act. It's a collective force. When individuals stand up for what they believe in, they inspire others to do the same. This creates a ripple effect that can challenge even the most entrenched systems of power. Don't underestimate the power of your own voice, your own actions, your own example. You may not be able to change the world overnight, but you can change your own life. And in doing so, you can inspire others to change theirs. Furthermore, master the art of strategic defiance. This means choosing your battles wisely. Not every hill is worth dying on. Sometimes the most effective form of defiance is silence. Other times it's a subtle act of subversion. Learn to assess the situation, to understand the power dynamics at play, and to choose the strategy that will have the greatest impact. Don't waste your energy on trivial matters. Focus on the issues that truly matter to you, the ones that are aligned with your core values. When you do choose to confront, do so with clarity, with conviction, and with a well-reasoned argument. Don't rely on emotion or personal attacks. Stick to the facts, present your case persuasively, and be prepared to defend your position. And even when you are met with resistance, don't back down. Stand your ground, not out of ego, but out of principle. Learn to tolerate the discomfort of conflict. Understand that growth often comes from challenging the status quo, from pushing against resistance, from embracing the struggle. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Learn from them, adapt, and move forward. The path of defiance is not always easy, but it is always rewarding. It leads to a life of authenticity, of integrity, of purpose. It leads to a life that is truly your own. The opposite of defiance isn't just compliance, it's apathy. It's the slow erosion of the soul, the gradual surrender of your will to the forces of conformity. Don't let that happen. Cultivate your defiance. Nurture it. Protect it. It is the key to your freedom. Consider the case of Viktor Frankl, imprisoned in Auschwitz. Stripped of everything, possessions, family, even his name reduced to a number tattooed on his arm, he faced a situation of unimaginable brutality and systematic dehumanization. The Nazis sought to break him, to crush his spirit, to reduce him to nothing more than a body awaiting its inevitable end. They controlled his environment, his food, his labor, his every waking moment. They inflicted physical pain, psychological torment, and the constant threat of death. In such circumstances, the obvious forms of defiance, outright rebellion, sabotage, physical resistance, were often suicidal, met with swift and brutal retribution. To physically fight back was to invite immediate and certain death, a pointless act of martyrdom that would achieve nothing beyond satisfying the sadistic impulses of his captors. So, what defiance was possible? What options remained for a man who had been stripped of everything except his own consciousness? Frankl discovered it within himself. The ultimate freedom, the last of the human freedoms, the ability to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. He recognized that while the Nazis could control his physical environment, they could not control his mind. They could inflict pain, but they could not dictate how he would respond to that pain. They could take away his possessions, but they could not take away his thoughts, his memories, his imagination. He chose to focus on the future, on the possibility of survival, on the prospect of reuniting with his loved ones and sharing his experiences with the world. He chose to find meaning in his suffering, to see it as an opportunity for growth, for self-discovery, for the strengthening of his spirit. He observed his fellow prisoners, noting who succumbed to despair and who managed to maintain their inner strength. He saw that those who clung to hope, who found purpose in their lives, who maintained a sense of dignity and humanity, were the ones who were most likely to survive. He developed a form of psychotherapy, which he later termed logotherapy, based on the principle that humans are driven by a search for meaning in life. He used this therapy to help himself and others cope with the horrors of the concentration camp, to find purpose in their suffering, and to maintain their mental and emotional well-being. Frankl's defiance was not a grand, theatrical gesture. It was a quiet, internal act of resistance, a refusal to be defined by his circumstances, a determination to maintain his humanity in the face of inhumanity. It was a subtle but powerful form of psychological warfare, a way of denying his captors the satisfaction of breaking his spirit. He understood that even in the most extreme circumstances, he had a choice. He could choose to succumb to despair, to give up hope, to become a victim of his environment, or he could choose to maintain his inner freedom, to find meaning in his suffering, and to fight for his survival. He chose the latter, and in doing so, he not only survived Auschwitz but emerged from it a stronger, more resilient, and more compassionate human being. His story is a testament to the power of the human spirit, to the ability to find meaning and purpose even in the darkest of times, and to the importance of cultivating one's inner freedom in the face of external oppression. It is a reminder that true defiance is not always about grand gestures or dramatic acts of rebellion. Sometimes it is about the quiet, internal struggle to maintain one's humanity, to find meaning in suffering, and to choose one's own attitude in the face of adversity. This subtle act of resistance, this internal fortitude, is often the most powerful form of defiance of all, the one that can sustain us through the most difficult of times, and ultimately lead us to a life of meaning, purpose, and freedom. He saw that the Nazis, in their attempt to eradicate human dignity, had inadvertently created the ultimate proving ground for it. The weak succumb to the allure of external validation, mistaking fleeting praise for genuine self-worth. They crave acceptance, shaping themselves into distorted reflections of societal expectations, losing sight of their authentic selves in the process. They become chameleons, constantly shifting their colors to blend in, terrified of standing out, of facing the discomfort of disapproval. This dependence on external approval makes them vulnerable, easily manipulated by those who understand their insecurities. Their desire for validation becomes a leash, controlling their actions and limiting their potential. They sacrifice their individuality, their dreams, and their values on the altar of conformity, ultimately becoming empty shells, devoid of genuine substance. They build their houses on sand, their identities fragile constructs easily toppled by the winds of criticism. They fail to understand that true strength comes from within, from a deep-seated sense of self-worth that is independent of external validation. They search for happiness in the opinions of others, a futile quest that leads only to disappointment and disillusionment. They are trapped in a cycle of seeking approval, constantly chasing a mirage that recedes with every step they take. Their defiance is hollow, a desperate attempt to impress others rather than a genuine expression of inner conviction. It's a performance for an audience that doesn't care, a charade that fools no one, least of all themselves. They prioritize comfort over growth, avoiding challenges and risks that might expose their perceived inadequacies. They settle for mediocrity, content to live a life of quiet desperation, rather than striving for excellence and embracing their full potential. The fear of failure paralyzes them, preventing them from taking the necessary steps to achieve their goals. They become masters of self-sabotage, undermining their own efforts and reinforcing their belief that they are incapable of success. Their comfort zone becomes their prison, a gilded cage that restricts their movement and stifles their spirit. They fail to understand that failure is not the opposite of success, but a stepping stone towards it. They lack the resilience to bounce back from setbacks, allowing temporary defeats to define their entire self-worth. They crumble under pressure, unable to withstand the inevitable challenges and obstacles that life throws their way. They are easily discouraged, giving up at the first sign of difficulty, lacking the grit and determination to persevere. Their dreams remain just that, dreams, never to be realized because they lack the courage and commitment to pursue them. They blame external factors for their failures, refusing to take responsibility for their own choices and actions. They become victims of circumstance, wallowing in self-pity and resentment, rather than taking control of their lives and shaping their own destinies. They are trapped in a cycle of negativity, constantly focusing on what they lack rather than what they possess. They fail to appreciate the simple joys of life, always searching for something more, something better, never content with what they have. Their happiness is conditional, dependent on external circumstances that are beyond their control. They are slaves to their desires, constantly chasing fleeting pleasures that provide only temporary satisfaction. They lack the self-discipline to resist temptation, succumbing to instant gratification rather than pursuing long-term goals. They are impulsive and reckless, making decisions based on emotions rather than reason. They fail to consider the consequences of their actions, often regretting their choices later. They are easily distracted, unable to focus on the task at hand. They lack the concentration and attention span necessary to master complex skills and achieve meaningful results. They are constantly multitasking, dividing their attention between multiple tasks, accomplishing nothing of real value. They are addicted to technology, spending countless hours scrolling through social media, comparing themselves to others, and fueling their insecurities. They are disconnected from the real world, lost in a virtual reality that is curated and artificial. They lack genuine human connection, relying on superficial interactions that leave them feeling empty and unfulfilled. They are lonely and isolated, surrounded by people but feeling utterly alone. They fail to cultivate meaningful relationships, neglecting their friends and family. They are selfish and self-centered, prioritizing their own needs and desires above those of others. They lack empathy and compassion, unable to understand the perspectives and experiences of those around them. They are judgmental and critical, quick to condemn others for their flaws and shortcomings. They are intolerant and narrow-minded, refusing to accept those who are different from them. They are trapped in their own echo chambers, surrounded by people who share their beliefs and reinforcing their biases. They are resistant to new ideas and perspectives, unwilling to challenge their own assumptions. They are ignorant and uninformed, relying on misinformation and propaganda. They are easily swayed by popular opinion, lacking the critical thinking skills to discern truth from falsehood. They are passive and complacent, unwilling to stand up for what they believe in. They are afraid to challenge authority, accepting the status quo without question. They are easily intimidated, succumbing to pressure from those in positions of power. They are manipulated and controlled, their thoughts and actions dictated by others. They are slaves to the system, blindly following the rules and regulations without understanding their purpose. They are cogs in the machine, contributing to a system that perpetuates inequality and injustice. They are complicit in their own oppression, failing to recognize their own power to effect change. They are trapped in a cycle of ignorance and apathy, perpetuating the very problems they complain about. To master defiance is to understand that the world does not reward passive obedience. It rewards those who can see beyond the surface, who can identify the flaws in the system, and who possess the courage to challenge the status quo. This isn't about blind rebellion or senseless acts of aggression. It's about strategic insubordination, a calculated resistance against forces that seek to control and manipulate. The Machiavellian approach to defiance begins with a clear assessment of the power dynamics at play. You must understand who holds the power, how they wield it, and what vulnerabilities they possess. Every system, no matter how formidable, has its weaknesses. Find them, exploit them, not through brute force but through cunning and precision. Think of it as a game of chess, where each move is carefully calculated to undermine your opponent's position. You don't attack head-on unless you have a clear advantage. Instead, you probe for weaknesses, create diversions, and exploit their mistakes. This requires patience, discipline, and a willingness to play the long game. It also demands a degree of detachment. You cannot allow your emotions to cloud your judgment. Anger, fear, and resentment are liabilities. They make you predictable and vulnerable. Instead, cultivate a cold, calculating mindset. View the world as it is, not as you wish it to be. Accept that people are often motivated by self-interest, greed, and a lust for power. Use this knowledge to your advantage. Learn to anticipate their moves and counter them before they even happen. Master your own emotions and use them as tools to manipulate others. Appear calm and collected even when you are under pressure. Project an aura of confidence and strength, even when you feel uncertain. This is psychological warfare, and the battlefield is your own mind. Defiance isn't just about resisting external forces. It's also about overcoming your own internal limitations. Your fears, your doubts, and your insecurities are your greatest enemies. They will hold you back, prevent you from taking risks, and ultimately keep you enslaved. To master defiance, you must confront these demons head-on. Examine your beliefs and question your assumptions. Identify the narratives that have been imposed upon you and challenge their validity. Are they truly your own, or have they been planted by others? Break free from the shackles of conventional thinking. Embrace unconventional ideas and perspectives. Seek out knowledge and wisdom from diverse sources. Learn to think for yourself and trust your own instincts. This is not a path for the faint of heart. It requires courage, resilience, and an unwavering commitment to your own freedom. You will face opposition, ridicule, and even persecution, but you must not be deterred. Remember that the greatest rewards are often reserved for those who dare to defy the norm. Embrace the challenge and emerge stronger, wiser, and more defiant than ever before. To become truly defiant, one must cultivate a deep understanding of human psychology. People are predictable. They are driven by their desires, their fears, and their insecurities. Learn to recognize these patterns and use them to your advantage. Understand what motivates them, what scares them, and what they are willing to do to achieve their goals. This knowledge is power. It allows you to anticipate their actions, manipulate their emotions, and ultimately control their behavior. But be warned, this is a dangerous game. Playing with people's minds can have unintended consequences. You must be careful not to cross the line into outright manipulation or exploitation. The goal is not to harm others, but to protect yourself and to advance your own interests. Defiance is not about being reckless or irresponsible. It's about being strategic and calculating. It's about understanding the risks and rewards and making informed decisions. It's about knowing when to push and when to pull back. It's about being patient and persistent and never giving up on your goals. The ultimate goal of defiance is to create a world that is more just, more equitable, and more free. A world where individuals are empowered to think for themselves, to challenge authority, and to pursue their own dreams. This is not a utopian vision. It's a realistic goal that can be achieved through strategic action and unwavering commitment. But it requires a willingness to defy the status quo, to challenge the powerful, and to stand up for what you believe in. It requires courage, resilience, and a deep understanding of the human condition. It demands that you forge your own path, regardless of the obstacles that stand in your way. It necessitates a mastery over your own internal weaknesses, transforming them into strengths. Remember, your mind is your greatest weapon. Sharpen it, hone it, and use it to achieve your goals. The world is full of opportunities for those who are willing to seize them, but you must be prepared to fight for what you want. You must be willing to defy the odds and to challenge the expectations of others. Only then can you truly master your own destiny, and only then can you create a world that is worthy of your potential. Learn to observe, analyze, and adapt. Information is your greatest asset. Gather as much as you can about your adversaries, their strengths, their weaknesses, and their strategies. Use this knowledge to develop your own plans and to anticipate their moves. Be flexible and adaptable. The world is constantly changing, and you must be prepared to adjust your strategies accordingly. Don't be afraid to experiment and to try new things, but be sure to learn from your mistakes. Every failure is an opportunity to learn and to grow. And remember, the only true failure is the failure to try. Cultivate a network of allies and supporters. You cannot do it alone. Find people who share your values and your goals and work together to achieve them. But be careful who you trust. Not everyone is who they appear to be. Some people will betray you, and some will try to undermine your efforts. Be discerning and selective in your choice of allies, and always be prepared to defend yourself. Defiance is not a passive state. It's an active process. It requires constant vigilance and a willingness to fight for what you believe in. It's a lifelong journey, and it's not for everyone. But for those who are willing to embrace the challenge, the rewards are immeasurable. The freedom to think for yourself, the power to control your own destiny, and the satisfaction of knowing that you are making a difference in the world. These are the things that make defiance worthwhile. These are the things that make life worth living. Consider the Roman Empire, a civilization forged in defiance. Its rise wasn't a gentle ascent, but a brutal climb over the bodies of those who sought to contain it. From its humble beginnings as a small city-state, Rome faced constant threats, challenges that would have crushed lesser societies. But the Romans possessed a unique brand of defiance, a stubborn refusal to submit, a burning desire to dominate. This wasn't simply aggression. It was a calculated strategy, a relentless pursuit of power fueled by a deep-seated belief in their own destiny. They analyzed their enemies, understood their weaknesses, and exploited them ruthlessly. The Punic Wars, a series of epic conflicts against Carthage, stand as a testament to Roman defiance. Hannibal, a Carthaginian general of unmatched brilliance, inflicted devastating defeats on Roman armies, pushing the Republic to the brink of collapse. But the Romans refused to yield. They learned from their mistakes, adapted their tactics, and ultimately prevailed, destroying Carthage and securing their dominance over the Mediterranean. This victory wasn't simply a matter of military might. It was a triumph of the Roman spirit, a testament to their unwavering determination to overcome any obstacle. Their defiance wasn't blind rage, but a calculated aggression honed by continuous warfare and political maneuvering. They understood the power of logistics, the importance of discipline, and the need for ruthless efficiency. Their legions were more than just soldiers. They were instruments of Roman will, capable of enduring unimaginable hardships and executing complex strategies with unwavering precision. The Roman conquest of Gaul, led by Julius Caesar, further exemplified their defiant spirit. Caesar faced numerous challenges, including fierce resistance from the Gallic tribes, logistical nightmares, and political intrigue back in Rome. But he persevered, conquering Gaul and solidifying Roman power in Europe. His success wasn't simply a result of his military genius. It was also a testament to his unwavering belief in his own abilities and his refusal to be deterred by obstacles. He understood the importance of psychological warfare, using propaganda and intimidation to demoralize his enemies and maintain control over his troops. His famous quote, "Veni, vidi, vici," I came, I saw, I conquered, encapsulates the Roman attitude towards defiance, swift, decisive, and unapologetic. The Roman Empire wasn't built on peace and harmony, but on conquest and control. It was a system of power sustained by the constant application of force and the suppression of dissent. But beneath the surface of brutality lay a profound understanding of human nature and a ruthless pragmatism that allowed them to maintain their dominance for centuries. Their defiance wasn't just about military conquest. It was also about cultural assimilation. They absorbed the best aspects of the cultures they conquered, incorporating them into their own society and creating a unique blend of Roman and foreign traditions. This adaptability allowed them to maintain control over vast territories and diverse populations. But the Roman Empire also faced internal threats, including political corruption, social unrest, and economic instability. These challenges ultimately led to its decline and fall. The empire's later emperors grew decadent and complacent, weakening the empire from within. The empire had become too large, too unwieldy, and too corrupt to sustain itself. The lessons of the Roman Empire are clear. Defiance is a powerful tool, but it must be tempered with wisdom, discipline, and a deep understanding of the world. It's about understanding that the greatest battles are fought not on the battlefield, but within the mind, and mastering the self is the ultimate form of defiance. The path to true dominance lies not in crushing others, but in conquering your own weaknesses. The architecture of defiance is constructed within the skull, brick by brick, through relentless self-assessment and brutal honesty. It's not a flamboyant rebellion against external forces, but a quiet, internal revolution against the limitations you impose on yourself. The mind, left unchecked, becomes a breeding ground for fear, doubt, and self-sabotage. It seeks comfort in mediocrity and resists the discomfort of growth. To master defiance, you must first understand the enemy within. This means confronting your insecurities, acknowledging your weaknesses, and dismantling the narratives that hold you back. It's a painful process, like performing surgery on your own brain, but it's necessary to build a foundation of unwavering self-belief. The psychology of defiance is rooted in the understanding that your thoughts create your reality. If you believe you are capable of achieving something, you are far more likely to succeed than if you allow doubt to creep in. This doesn't mean ignoring obstacles or dismissing challenges. It means approaching them with a mindset of unwavering resolve, knowing that you have the inner resources to overcome any adversity. Defiance isn't about being reckless or impulsive. It's about making calculated decisions based on a clear understanding of your goals and the risks involved. It's about being willing to step outside your comfort zone, to take calculated risks, and to push yourself beyond your perceived limits. It's about being strategic in your approach, anticipating potential obstacles, and developing contingency plans. It's about having the mental fortitude to persevere in the face of setbacks, to learn from your mistakes, and to come back stronger than before. True defiance requires a deep understanding of your own psychology, your strengths and weaknesses, your triggers and vulnerabilities. It requires you to develop a mental framework that is resilient to stress, adaptable to change, and unwavering in its commitment to your goals. The process of mastering defiance is never-ending. It's a constant cycle of self-assessment, self-improvement, and self-overcoming. There will be times when you falter, when you doubt yourself, and when you feel like giving up. But it's in those moments that your true strength is revealed. It's in those moments that you have the opportunity to choose defiance over despair, to rise above your limitations, and to become the person you were meant to be. Consider the psychological power of framing. How you frame a situation dictates your response to it. A challenge framed as an insurmountable obstacle breeds fear and inaction. But that same challenge, reframed as an opportunity for growth, ignites motivation and resourcefulness. Defiance lies in your ability to reframe any adversity to your advantage. It's about seeing setbacks not as defeats, but as lessons. It's about viewing failures not as signs of inadequacy, but as stepping stones to success. The disciplined mind does not dwell on what went wrong. It analyzes the situation, extracts the lessons, and adjusts the strategy for the next attempt. This is not mere positive thinking. It's a calculated psychological manipulation designed to maximize your potential. This mental dexterity extends to your interactions with others. People will attempt to control you, to manipulate you, to undermine your confidence. Defiance here means recognizing these tactics and refusing to be swayed. It means understanding their motivations, their vulnerabilities, and using that knowledge to protect yourself. It's not about becoming paranoid or distrustful, but about developing a keen awareness of human behavior and its potential for both good and ill. The psychology of defiance also involves cultivating a sense of inner authority. This is not arrogance or entitlement, but a quiet confidence that stems from a deep understanding of your own value and your own capabilities. It's about knowing that you have the right to pursue your goals, to express your opinions, and to live your life on your own terms. It's about refusing to be intimidated by others, to be swayed by social pressure, or to compromise your values for the sake of acceptance. Inner authority is built on a foundation of self-respect, self-reliance, and self-discipline. It requires you to hold yourself accountable to your own standards, to honor your commitments, and to treat yourself with the same respect that you would expect from others. This inner strength is not a given. It must be cultivated through consistent effort and unwavering self-belief. The mastering of defiance is a continuous process of refining your mental armor, sharpening your strategic intellect, and solidifying your inner resolve. It's about recognizing that the greatest battles are fought within the confines of your own mind, and that victory over yourself is the ultimate form of dominance. It's a relentless pursuit of self-mastery, a commitment to unwavering truth, and a testament to the indomitable spirit that resides within us all. Think of psychological warfare applied internally. You are not only battling external adversaries, but also your own self-doubts, fears, and limitations. This internal warfare demands a constant vigilance, a strategic deployment of mental resources, and a ruthless elimination of anything that weakens your resolve. Consider your emotions. They can be powerful allies or devastating enemies. Defiance requires learning to manage your emotions, to harness their energy, and to prevent them from clouding your judgment. This doesn't mean suppressing your emotions or becoming a stoic robot. It means understanding your emotional triggers, developing coping mechanisms, and using your emotions to fuel your actions. For example, anger, channeled constructively, can be a powerful motivator. Fear, acknowledged and understood, can sharpen your senses and enhance your awareness. The key is to be in control of your emotions, rather than being controlled by them. Likewise, your thoughts must be scrutinized. Negative thought patterns such as self-criticism, comparison, and catastrophizing can erode your confidence and undermine your efforts. Defiance means challenging these thoughts, replacing them with more constructive and empowering beliefs. It's about creating a mental environment that supports your goals, rather than sabotaging them. The strategic element of defiance lies in anticipating the moves of your opponents, both external and internal. This requires a deep understanding of human nature, an ability to predict behavior, and a willingness to adapt your strategies as needed. It means recognizing that your own weaknesses can be exploited and taking steps to protect yourself. It means understanding the motivations of others and using that knowledge to your advantage. For example, if you know that someone is trying to manipulate you, you can anticipate their tactics and deflect their efforts. If you know that you are prone to self-doubt, you can develop strategies to combat those thoughts. The ultimate goal is to be one step ahead of the game, to anticipate challenges before they arise, and to have a plan for every eventuality. This level of preparedness requires constant self-reflection, continuous learning, and a willingness to embrace change. To achieve true mastery, seek discomfort. Avoid stagnation by deliberately engaging with challenging situations that force growth. This cultivates resilience, adaptability, and unwavering self-belief. This constant self-improvement is the bedrock of dominance. The path to true defiance is not about brute force or mindless opposition. It's about understanding the subtle art of mental warfare. It's about recognizing that every challenge, every obstacle, every moment of adversity is an opportunity to forge an unbreakable spirit. Your mind is the battlefield, and your thoughts are the weapons. Master them, and you master yourself. Fail to do so, and you become a prisoner of your own limitations. It demands a ruthless self-assessment, a constant analysis of your strengths and weaknesses. Identify your vulnerabilities, the cracks in your mental armor that can be exploited by doubt, fear, or the opinions of others. Then, fortify those weaknesses, build walls of unwavering conviction, and arm yourself with the knowledge and skills necessary to defend your inner territory. This requires a relentless commitment to self-improvement, a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths, and the courage to challenge your own limiting beliefs. It means embracing discomfort, seeking out challenges that push you beyond your comfort zone, and learning from every failure. It means cultivating a growth mindset, believing that your abilities are not fixed, but can be developed through dedication and hard work. It means surrounding yourself with people who support your goals, who challenge you to be better, and who hold you accountable for your actions. Defiance is not merely a reactive force, it's a proactive strategy. It's about anticipating the challenges that lie ahead, preparing yourself for the inevitable storms of life, and developing a plan to overcome any obstacle that stands in your way. This requires a deep understanding of your own psychology, as well as the psychology of others. You must learn to recognize the patterns of human behavior, to anticipate the motives of those around you, and to use that knowledge to your advantage. You must become a master of manipulation, not in the sense of exploiting others, but in the sense of influencing their perceptions and behaviors in a way that serves your goals. This requires empathy, emotional intelligence, and a willingness to understand the perspectives of others. It means learning to communicate effectively, to persuade with conviction, and to build relationships based on trust and mutual respect. But above all, it means maintaining your integrity, remaining true to your values, and never compromising your principles for the sake of expediency. The art of defiance demands a ruthless commitment to self-discipline, an unwavering focus on your goals, and a relentless pursuit of excellence. It requires a willingness to sacrifice short-term gratification for long-term achievement, to endure discomfort and hardship for the sake of your vision, and to never give up, no matter how difficult the circumstances. This level of commitment requires a deep sense of purpose, a clear understanding of your values, and a burning desire to achieve your full potential. It means cultivating a strong work ethic, developing effective habits, and eliminating distractions that prevent you from reaching your goals. It means learning to manage your time effectively, to prioritize your tasks, and to delegate responsibilities when appropriate. It means taking care of your physical and mental health, ensuring that you have the energy and focus necessary to perform at your best. It means developing a strong support system, surrounding yourself with people who believe in you, and seeking out mentors who can guide you on your journey. Defiance is not about seeking validation from others. It's about finding validation within yourself. It's about building a foundation of self-worth that is independent of external circumstances, a sense of inner strength that cannot be shaken by criticism, rejection, or failure. This requires a deep understanding of your own strengths and weaknesses, a realistic assessment of your capabilities, and an unwavering belief in your potential. It means accepting yourself for who you are, flaws and all, and focusing on your growth and development. It means learning to forgive yourself for your mistakes, to let go of the past, and to move forward with confidence and optimism. It means cultivating a positive self-image, focusing on your accomplishments, and celebrating your successes. It means surrounding yourself with positive influences, avoiding negative people and situations, and focusing on the things that bring you joy and fulfillment. The path of defiance is not easy. It demands courage, resilience, and a willingness to confront your deepest fears. But the rewards are immeasurable. It gives you the power to overcome any obstacle, to achieve any goal, and to live a life of purpose and fulfillment. It gives you the strength to stand up for what you believe in, to challenge the status quo, and to make a difference in the world. It gives you the freedom to be yourself, to express your unique talents and abilities, and to live a life that is true to your values. And ultimately, it gives you the satisfaction of knowing that you have lived a life of integrity, courage, and